Okay. Well, let's give it a few minutes. Actually, get food. You know. There we go. There we go. Leave it on. Hopefully, maybe trying to copyright stuff, but probably my favorite one. So I think. Oh, this one's really good. We'll do it.
Hey ladies, sticks and stones and radical Muslims break our bones. It's not easy being a girl these days. Selective outrage. The more they repulse type are triggered by everything, including dealers, trendy bathrooms, the drag queens, and the queen bee herself. Mrs. Drug Dealers Anonymous, Beyonce, Black Panther knows. Now diarrhea coming from my mouth. Verbal diarrhea coming from my mouth, and no one else's. You feminists can keep your women guard. I'll keep my entitled mentality. Like a spoiled on steroids, could use a dip with God, a misguided tantrum. When your outfit is taken away from you, it hurts. Something has been stripped from me, and that's my ability to work. I don't have a dressing room, I don't have my chair, and it's not fair. Now diarrhea coming from my mouth. Verbal diarrhea coming from my mouth. Yeah, I have millions of views, thousands of followers, but guess what? I'm not a Trump supporter, and I don't support any of my fans. Anything for a buck, right, ladies? I have mouth diarrhea coming from my mouth. Verbal diarrhea coming from my mouth, and no one else's. Mouth diarrhea.
Do you see yourself as a victim?
Mouth diarrhea.
If so, I feel sorry for you.
Mouth diarrhea.
They call me a racist cracker.
Mouth diarrhea.
So I'm terminated and fired wrongfully. So I'm upset by it and I'm hurt by it and I feel betrayed by it.
Are they still paying you?
Yeah, they're still paying me.
Alright. We are back. We are here. And, oh, I got this dumbass here on the screen. Oh, alright, the end coverage covered 13 hours ago. I don't care. I'm doing it myself. I'm a little bit behind on these guys. Although, before we actually do this, summarize the fun this man right here. Goes back from progressive leaders and progress for saying in an interview demonstrated that political funders to use snappy slogans such as keeping the police to jeopardize their thinkers on race reform and even lose support from the base. See, now here's the deal. In some ways, I mean, bad optics is bad optics. If you, but also there was the doctor talking about this. He was on the side of like You can have bad optics. And you know, all the ladies, the whole squad, and then Jamal Bowman and some other people jumped in. They criticized him on it. They made a really good point. They tried to film off this game. Nothing happened until they made people uncomfortable. So there's such a thing as bad optics and uncomfortable optics, guys. And that is something I think people just don't fully think about when they're making certain kinds of arguments. You can have optics that are bad and uncomfortable. You can have optics that are good and uncomfortable. But just because the optics are bad and the message makes you uncomfortable doesn't mean it's a bad thing. The content behind the slogan is what you have to ask about. When somebody says defund the police, you immediately think defund the police. Well, why? Why would you take away all their money? At least people that I've come across with. But when you explain what you actually want, people are a little more intrigued. They kind of think about it more. But if you're just like, I can't even think of another kind of slogan that would really fit. I guess you could, instead of defund or defund the police, you could have like less police, or something like that. But no, this is optically it gets people thinking, asking questions. People pay attention to what's going on more, and it makes people uncomfortable when you say the slogan. I I support it personally, but yeah, Ilhan Omar, AOC, Ayanna Pressley, Jamal Bowman, uh, Rashida Tlaib, all of them jumped in and criticized them. I think there were a couple of other people, but other than that, I don't know. So hey, what do you know? A take I disagree with Basha. He says bad optics can't be good, but I think bad optics with the uncomfortability of the message can be used for good. Okay, so that one was good. Trying to match up. That's very good. I'm gonna do that. I want the damn shot. Very good. Better than that. Very I don't know. Oh well. Figure it out later. I'm gonna listen to this guy whine.
Okay, now, I would be remiss today if I did not discuss one of the great issues of our time. And that is that the actress Ellen Page, who is, was, and shall remain a woman, is now a man.
No. Already wrong. 11 seconds in. A. His name is Elliot. Don't dead name people. Don't misgender people. He is a man.
So let me read you the headline from CNN, which conveys zero information. Right, we have now been forced as a society to simply say nonsense, to simply just say things that are nonsense, that don't make any sort of logical sense, that don't actually translate from English to reason.
What they do.
Okay, so here is the headline, and you tell me if you know what the hell this means. Okay, ready? Elliot Page, Juno star, shares transgender identity. Do you have any idea what that means? Like, seriously, do you have...
Yes. Yes, I do, but let me explain it for your tiny fucking brain. Okay? Listen up, buddy. The person who was formerly identified as Ellen Page, the star of Juno, is a man. They are sharing their identity as a transgendered individual with people. That's what it means.
Do you have any idea what that means? When I first saw the headline Elliot Page, I thought, whoa, Ellen has a brother? No, it turns out that Ellen Page is now identifying as Elliot Page. And the media, instead of saying, here's a headline with content, Ellen Page announces she identifies as man, wishes to be called Elliot Page. Right? Now I would have the whole story. But Elliot Page, Juno star, conveys nothing because Ellen Page was the star of Juno. So I'm like, wait, was her brother in that movie? Like, I don't even know what you're talking about right now. Because the media have created this bizarre standard.
Bizarre standard by calling somebody the name they want to be called. The Juno star bit is for reference, and the ending part of announces transgender identity should also give the rest of the context. I mean, it's fucking contextual shit, Ben Shapiro. You dumb motherfucker.
Whereby, if a person declares themselves a member of the opposite gender, the entire world, especially in the media, must immediately flip on a dime, stop calling them by the name everybody knew them as, and stop calling them by their biological sex.
Yes, that's how it works. You just don't do it. Called dead naming and misgendering. Duh.
You end up with complete nonsense, just complete bleh, coming out of the mouths of the media. Now listen, Ellen Page can identify however she wants. I don't care. Really, it makes no difference to me. She is an
Elliot Page can identify however he wants. He is.
adult human. She can do whatever she wants. It is a free country. However, it being a free country, I am also free to point out that Ellen Page is, was, and shall remain a woman. Because Ellen Page is in fact a woman.
Factually incorrect.
Now, I'm happy to call Ellen Page Elliot. if she wants to be called Elliot, because people change their names all the time, and you can, in fact, change your name by declaration. You cannot, however, change your sex by declaration, or your gender by declaration.
Yes, you actually can change your gender by declaration. Well, and there's a child counseling. I don't know how it generally works with other people. I am cisgendered, so, take that as you will. But I have trans siblings.
That is not how this works. There is no other area of life in which people simply declare themselves to be a thing, and everybody goes, oh, okay. Right? An objectively verifiable thing. Right? There, you can declare your sexual orientation, or you can declare a thing that you like. You can declare that you're a fan of this particular...
Sexual orientation is kind of quantifiable. Because, as a dude, if I were gay, and I told somebody I was gay, and they didn't believe me, I could suck a dick to show that I was gay, or at least bi. So, there is that.
Band, you can declare that you have a sexual attraction to X, Y, or Z, right? That's all subjective. And all we have to go on is your behavior, which is objective, and your subjective self-assessment. However, when you're declaring something as core as your sex, there's no objectifiable,
Not your sex, your gender.
objective measure whatsoever whereby Ellen Page is a man. None. Right? She is a woman. And yet we are immediately told by the media that to even address Ellen Page or Elliot Page as a she is discriminatory.
Because it is. Elliot is a man. Here's the deal. You're conflating sex and gender, which is really common, and you do it all the time, even though people we know have corrected you. So correcting you isn't the issue here. Correcting your idiot shit for anyone who actually watches my dumbass content is the goal. Sex, biological. The shit you're born with. You got a vagina? There you go. That would be referred to as female organs, female anatomy. It's what we use for that term. Woman, gender, is the social construct around societal expectations we assign to people with certain sexual characteristics. By identifying as a woman, you are, in current standards, taking on those societal roles as much as you can.
It's very bad and very discriminatory. And so you end up with complete inanities and insanities. Okay, so Ellen Page declared that she is now...
Oh, I should clarify. If you choose to. You can be trans, you can be born with a big old dogger, and identify as a woman, and not change your body. Just to be clear.
Okay? But she also declared that she is a queer man. Now, this is confusing, because if she were a queer man, this would mean that she is attracted to men, which would technically mean that she's a straight woman, right? Because if she is an actual woman attracted to men, this would make her a straight woman. But we know she's not that, because she was a lesbian, right? So she is married to a woman, as far as I'm aware, and that means that she is a lesbian, but now she is a man, and according to her, this means that she is a white, straight male. So how is she queer? She's a white, straight male. So here is how Wikipedia tries to sum this up. You ready for this? According to Wikipedia, in January 2018, Page publicly announced his marriage to dancer and choreographer Emma Portner. So this means that Ellen Page is a gay man married to a woman, according to Wikipedia, which makes no sense at all, like in any way, shape, or form. And you're expected to simply mirror this. Not only that, the left has particular standards with regard to who gets to play parts in movies. So, for example, Ellen Page, now Elliot Page. Right? I'm saying Ellen Page not because I wish to offend Elliot Page, but because until 5 seconds ago, nobody had ever heard of Elliot Page, so nobody knows who the hell I'm talking about. So I'm going to use the name that people know her as.
So much misgendering and weaselly bullshitting. Oh, I'll call her Elliot, but fucking little weasel shit. I guess Ben Shabibo makes so much money that he forgot the shit that he said to Caitlyn Jenner.
And then over time, if you want to call it Elliot Page, that's fine. But for like today, I feel like it's fair to mention that Ellen Page and Elliot.
Although that was actually bad optics that made people uncomfortable in a very bad way, and probably did more damage than good in that regard. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know though. I don't know enough about that whole situation.
Elliot Page are the same person, so that if somebody tunes in and hears Elliot Page, they don't think Ellen has a brother. Okay? So, here's the headline from TV Insider. Elliot Page reportedly to continue in same role on Umbrella Academy. Now, Umbrella Academy on Netflix, it started off that the series itself is based on a comic book. In the comic book, Ellen Page, who, again, is a woman, and is in the series a cisgender woman, right? Like a woman who is a woman, is a straight woman in the first season. In the second season, Ellen Page becomes a lesbian because Ellen Page is a lesbian in real life, I guess. I mean, I assume that's what the plan was there, and that it has something to do with how Ellen Page wanted to act, because my understanding is that's not something directly from the comic book series. If it is, forgive me, that's fine. Who cares? Okay, but here's the part that's hilarious. So according to Variety, they say there are no plans to change the character Ellen Page plays her gender on the Umbrella Academy. So the series is publicly showing their support, and they say they are proud of their superhero. We love you, Elliot, but Elliot will be playing a woman. Now, I've been firmly informed that this is discrimination and cultural appropriation. When Scarlett Johansson, a straight woman, was slated to play a transgender man in a movie, this was considered very, very bad form. In fact, only trans people could play trans characters. So I have a question. If Elliot Page is in fact a man, the way that the media have declared that she is a man, then why is she allowed to play a cisgender woman? Is that not cultural appropriation?
It does seem a bit double standardy. I don't know enough about this situation either, in particular, to talk about that. But you know what? Um, oh, gender non-binary transgender person. Huh? So, um, Oh, see, it wasn't. Oh, okay. But she mishandled. Okay, okay. That's a bit of misdirection on Ben's part. I did a little bit of digging. Nobody said anything about cultural appropriation or anything like that. They would have said that casting a cisgendered actress as a transgendered act, acting person. I don't know, actor or actress, I guess. Would have a transgender man to play an actor that does take away roles that could have been, that they try and take away a role that could have been filled by a transgendered actor. Somebody who could actually, fill the role with personal experience and shit. So, nothing about cultural appropriation. It is just, hey, you're taking away the opportunity for trans people by doing this.
If a normal, non-trans man decided to play a woman today, everybody would suggest that this was a violation of long-standing norms. It was cultural appropriation. But if a woman declares herself a man, then you have to make a choice. Either she is a man, in which case she can't play a woman anymore, or she is not a man, in which case she's not a man. But because our culture is unbelievably stupid, it is both. Right? That is the way that this works. So good news, Elliot Page can still play women and also can play transgender men, presumably can also play men, which is really exciting.
Presumably. Yeah, that's some presumption, though. Nobody said anything about Elliot playing a cisgender man.
One further note on all of this. If you feel like this is crazy and that this is being crammed down on you, that is because it is. That is because this is not a fringe phenomenon anymore. Right? This is something the Democratic Party fully embraces and pushes. Yesterday, Chuck Schumer, the Senate Minority Leader, he said that he is fully with Joe Biden on mandating from the federal government that transgender people be allowed to use the bathroom of their choice. Now, it seems to me that if my wife is uncomfortable with a male walking into a bathroom or a locker room where she is undressing at the gym, that is perfectly within her purview.
But that's the thing. They identify as a woman. Sexual assault is still illegal. We don't have to cater to the sensibilities of people. We have to do what's right.
That seems like not inappropriate at all to me. But the federal government has now decided under Democratic auspices that men and women are exactly the same. That gender is completely fluid. None of this makes any internal sense, by the way. If men and women are completely the same, there's no reason for you to declare yourself a man. Man equals woman means woman equals woman. Right? I mean, this is just the basic transitive property. In any case, here is Chuck Schumer, fully greenlighting the Democratic agenda, which is fully in line with all of this silliness and anti-logic nonsense. And again, Ellen Page or Elliot Page is allowed to do whatever she wants to do today, but she does not get to dictate what the rest of us say about things as basic as biological sex and capital T truth. Okay, but here's the Democratic Party pushing this stuff.
Joe Biden said that on his first day of office, he will give transgender students access to sports, bathrooms, and locker rooms in accordance with their gender identity in all federally funded schools. Do you think he has the ability to do this, and do you agree with this decision?
I agree with the decision, and I know he'll check things out thoroughly legally.
Okay, I'm sure that this will all work out just fantastically well. I'm sure, and don't feel bullied. Don't feel as though you are being forced to change long-standing and, for all of human history, held opinions about the non-malleability of sex. It is all because you're discriminatory in your mind. Don't worry about the fact that this is all illogical and makes no sense. The media have told you that a thing is so, and therefore it is so. And therefore, and also, if you mention it, it's because you're obsessed with these issues. This is one of my favorites. Is that you say something as radical as men and women are exactly the same and a man can become a woman, and then I say no. And they're like, why are you even paying attention to this? Why are you even making an issue out of this? I'm not. You guys are. I'm sorry, but you purveyors of new truths that have nothing to do with science, logic, reason, the answer is no. The answer is no. I do not go along with your mandatory take on the world. And I don't think Americans should either. That's not an excuse for being nasty to people. It's not an excuse for discrimination. It is a recommendation that we all speak real truths when they are available. And it happens to be a real truth that Elliot Page is, was, and will remain a woman, even if Elliot Page believes that she is a man. And you're under no obligation, moral or otherwise, to suggest that men can become women or to teach that to your children, which is really what the left wants out of this whole deal. Did you know that every like on this video creates one additional leftist tier? Don't ask me why. That's called science. To take it.
Yeah, no, go fuck yourself. He said a lot of dumb shit, yeah. $17.99. So not for all of this stuff. 1800, 1802. $5,000 people have been studying the human body. Not speculated for that. Care about sexual reproduction on. I'll figure it out later. Essentially, hell, there was a period in time, about 150, 160 years ago, I think, that until you were around 10 years old, you were called a girl. You were put in a dress. Maybe it was 6 or 7 years old when you started growing, like, started to develop a bit. But usually I think it was around 10 or 11. And then they would leave girls in dresses and call them young ladies, and then you would be a boy after that if you were an angry bit. So the idea of your gender has changed throughout time. Here we go. Here we go. I want that whole picture. Yeah, here we go. This guy was not considered a real man. You know, just saying. We've had different concepts for gender for a while. But I know what it is. I know exactly what it is. Conservatives cannot stand the fact that somebody who has the capability to insert a penis into them, like if they have a vagina, they shouldn't identify as not a woman. That's what they get mad about, because they think it's gay to fuck somebody who identifies as a man, but they also think it's gay to fuck trans women. So it's a weird thing. It's all about, the biological shit, but I don't know. They get really weird about it. But no, Elliot, you're not. Get over it. Look at you right now. Look at the tears. He's so upset. This is glad to know, but now I can figure out ways to fucking rip is off, although I don't think. Okay. Who to cover now? People aren't watching right now. God. Got a bunch of videos. Huh? Sure.
Hey, everybody. The president just released a 46-minute speech. It's pretty incredible. The activist news media has covered none of it. So we made a decision here on the Charlie Kirk Show just to air the speech in its entirety. I want you to listen to this, piece by piece, minute by minute, of the president of the United States laying out all of the instances of voter fraud and why he continues to fight. If this podcast has moved you or has impacted your life favorably in any way, please consider supporting us at charliekirk.com/support. If you want to email us your questions, you can do so by emailing us freedom@charliekirk.com and get involved with Turning Point USA at tpusa.com. The president is addressing the state of the election. Buckle up. Here we go.
We are lucky to have Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk's running the White House, folks.
I want to thank Charlie. He's an incredible guy. His spirit, his love of this country. He's done an amazing job.
We are going to fight for freedom on campuses across the country.
Thank you. This may be the most important speech I've ever made. I want to provide an update on our ongoing efforts to expose the tremendous voter fraud and irregularities which took place during the ridiculously long November 3rd elections. We used to have what was called Election Day. Now we have election days, weeks and months, and lots of bad things happened during this ridiculous period of time, especially when you have to prove almost nothing to exercise our greatest privilege, the right to vote. As president, I have no higher duty than to defend the laws and the Constitution of the United States. That is why I am determined to protect our election system, which is now under coordinated assault and siege. For months leading up to the presidential election, we were warned that we should not declare a premature victory. We were told repeatedly that it would take weeks, if not months, to determine the winner, to count the absentee ballots, and to verify the results. My opponent was told to stay away from the election. Don't campaign. We don't need you. We've got it. This election is done. In fact, they were acting like they already knew what the outcome was going to be. They had it covered, and perhaps they did, very sadly for our country. It was all very, very strange. Within days after the election, we witnessed an orchestrated effort to anoint a winner, even while many key states were still being counted. The constitutional process must be allowed to continue. We are going to
Oh. Is that right then? He announced that he was running June 12th of 1999. He won August 3rd, 2000. Won the election 4 days after court battles and shit. December 12th, 2000. We're at December 3rd, so it's not unprecedented, for one. Wait, let me think about it. Mix, yeah, mixing around. I just need to put in mixing and tank. Okay, different sound ability. Okay, different. I think he just went out right. Go a little further back. Okay. Oh, okay. This all of that. All the different what the imaging of the commentators and he was the present man who resides in the effect of the office at the open Democratic Party, moreover, is both rationalized and everything. Simply, several of the candidates sought the nomination for the Speaker of the House, John Texas, to transport the West, and the party's 1928 candidate, Alfred Smith, who ran strongly in the Northeast. The party tried to split in two key social issues: Catholicism and prohibition. Smith was Catholic and wanted to end prohibition, but the Democrats in the Northeast behind the votes in the South and West. In 1932, the other key issue was the expression that Catholicism or prohibition was given Democrats a great opportunity to get the White House back from Republicans, as we had not entered the Democratic Convention in Chicago with the necessary speakers and delegates to manage to secure them after Congress and Congress last presidential nomination. FDR then broke the tradition and flew to Chicago by airplane to accept the nomination in person, promising delegates a new deal for the American people. FDR promised to go to Chicago was politically necessary, and his spinning spoke to the country that even though his body had been ravaged by polio, he was a less strong and energetic. Yep. Okay. Then did he actually they don't go over what he actually Okay. What I need to know is when did you even though they announced that's the part of the yeah, he flew out. Well,
Defend the honesty of the vote by ensuring that every legal ballot is counted and that no illegal ballot is counted. This is not just about honoring the votes of 74 million Americans who voted for me. It's about ensuring that Americans can have faith in this election and in all future elections. Today, I will detail some of the shocking irregularities, abuses, and fraud that have been revealed in recent weeks. But before laying out just a small portion of the evidence we have uncovered, and we have so much evidence, I want to explain the corrupt mail-in balloting scheme that Democrats systematically put into place that allowed voting to be altered, especially in swing states, which they had to win. They just didn't know that it was going to be that tough because we were leading in every swing state by so much, far greater than they ever thought possible. While it has long been understood that the Democrat political machine engages in voter fraud from Detroit to Philadelphia to Milwaukee, Atlanta, so many other places. What changed this year was the Democrat Party's relentless push to print and mail out tens of millions of ballots sent to unknown recipients with virtually no safeguards of any kind. This allowed fraud and abuse to occur on a scale never seen before. Using the pandemic as a pretext, Democrat politicians and judges drastically changed election procedures just months and in some cases weeks before the election on the 3rd of November. Very rarely were legislatures involved, and constitutionally they had to be involved. But very, very rarely, and you'll see that as we continue to file our suits, it's constitutionally, absolutely.
hold on a minute. Really? Yeah. This is the time that they and 15 and 28 for signatures. 2016 and 28 for that. 2020. That's what he was taught. I wrote out a petition clause. This means all of these guys are guess it was
Pasadena passed a new limit.
these four guys at the same time. It's 12 counts of felony. Okay. For 2018. Okay. Elderly voter power and then a dictator type of person coming for 2018. Out for that. Two-year-old election. 20%. Okay. 2021. 2015 municipal election received third signature. 2016. Okay. So this is municipal. Now, granted, this isn't. This is all healthcare. But we see a trend here, right? Hmm. Okay, good. So this is conviction rate. This is detail. Okay. Hey now. but you're not taking all the details in there, buddy. Remember, driver, Utah couple, 36, still with Eston Days. Let me see, 2017, to the 2018 election. And this has been no. Yeah, no, results. Twice in the 16 next week of the camp. They don't even put all the information. So yeah, they don't tell you all the details. Let's go to the last thing. Let's see what's going on here. 2019, so those are the next week. No year. False registration. No year. Eligible voting for no conviction. Voters. Fraudulent registration. Huh. No, again. So it's interesting. Oklahoma, very red state. Very red. So, you know. So, you know. Perhaps. Basic. And all of that is all of that adds up to 1,300 cases of voter fraud. Not in presidential elections exclusively, but all elections. Municipal, state, city shit, like everything. Boom. Okay. This number, even if it was all applied now, for this year, as opposed to the past 4, at the very least, I haven't looked into any of the others, but the ones I did see, would not change this number. It wouldn't. Just look at this. So, I'll show you the map. How many is it? 1302. Okay. How many? Uh, 46,000. I need to know upfront how many millions there's like. Because I think these have like millions and millions. So we'll go 8 million. Oh, then he would die. But most likely what's going to happen is that he would die. So with the huge I mean, that would run out if all these people had voted here. And these people voted here, and if they voted for anyone who voted who would vote here could also vote for them, so that I could vote for them. But if we get these people, it'd be all of these people, it'd be about a third of these people, it'd be what we going good. It would be a good time, it's a good thing for you. Yes, very much good.
Incorrect what took place, even from a legal standpoint. Many states, such as Nevada and California, sent millions of live ballots to every person on their voter rolls, whether those individuals had requested ballots or not, whether they were dead or alive. They got ballots. Other states, such as Minnesota, Michigan, and Wisconsin, instituted universal absentee balloting right in the middle of an election year, sending absentee ballot request forms to all voters on all rolls. It didn't matter who they were. This colossal expansion of mail-in voting opened the floodgates to massive fraud.
Incorrect. They only did it by the voter rolls.
It's a widely known fact that the voting rolls are packed with people who are not lawfully eligible to vote.
Bullshit. Voter rolls are purged all the time by you guys. By people who can lawfully vote.
Including those who are deceased, have moved out of their state, and even are non-citizens of our country.
Incorrect. People who have, quote unquote, moved out of state, there are special exceptions, like military people. Some states have laws where if you move to another state in a voting year, and it's within 30 days of voting day, you can still vote in that state. But you can't vote in the other state if you do. You can vote in the other state, but you can't vote in the state you came from if you do. It depends on where you want to vote. But here's the deal. You have to vote where you're registered. And if you're registered to move in an election year, you vote in your home state. Bit of a pain in the ass, so don't move in an election year. Because re-registering is a bitch. So, key point. But there are also exceptions for people in college, and the military themselves, which was a large portion of all the votes that he's talking about.
Beyond this, the records are riddled with errors, wrong addresses, duplicate entries, and many other issues.
Incorrect.
This is not disputed.
Yes, it is.
It has never been disputed.
It is disputed all the time.
Dozens of counties in the key swing states have more registered voters on the rolls than they have voting age citizens.
Nope.
Including
Incorrect.
67 counties in Michigan. All of this is evidence. In Wisconsin, the state's Board of Elections could not confirm the residency of more than 100,000 people, but repeatedly refused to remove those names from its voter rolls before the election. They knew why, nobody else did. I knew why. They're illegal voters. It is a travesty that in the year 2020, we do not have any means of verifying the eligibility of those who cast ballots in an election, and such an important election it is, or determining who they are, whether they live in the state, or whether they are even American citizens. We have no idea. We have in all swing states major infractions or outright fraud, which is far more in numbers or votes than we need to overturn the results of a state. In other words, in Wisconsin, as an example, where we were way up on election night, they ultimately had us miraculously losing by 20,000 votes. And I can show you right here that Wisconsin, we're leading by a lot. And then at 3:42 in the morning, there was this. It was a massive dump of votes.
Yeah, when the mail-in votes came in, and they counted and scanned them into the machines even. There's paper record of all of this. On Look at all this. That's nuts. So they had to go through the voting line to hand feed the ballot into the tabulator, and if they couldn't read the ballot, the person had to go and remake it with another election official. And then they had to keep the one labeled bad ballot, the one that couldn't be processed, and then go put the good ballot into the tabulator. And if it, so when that one read, you had to put them both together so that the vote was wow. That's not fair. So,
mostly Biden, almost all Biden. And to this day, everyone's trying to figure out, where did it come from? But I went from leading by a lot to losing by a little. And that's right here. That's at 3:42 in the morning. That's Wisconsin. A terrible thing. Terrible, terrible thing. But we will have far more, many times more, than the 20,000 votes needed to overturn the state. If we are right about the fraud, Joe Biden can't be president. We're talking.
You're not right about the fraud. Actually, this doesn't hang down a ballot. He's gonna have and that's the this is the vote and the election, but the election is in the state. There's 15% of the states and the things are being felt for after this is a validated use and everything in the survey ballot counted by a community voting machine on election day, not by chance, by the survey. The state election commission elected 3 voting wards. So, cool. More like.
We're talking about hundreds of thousands of votes.
We're
talking about numbers like nobody has ever seen before. Just as an example, in
Is that
certain
true?
states, we'll be down by, let's say, 7,000 votes. But we'll find later on 20,000, 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 discrepancies or fraudulent votes. And that includes votes that went through when they were not allowed to be seen by Republican poll watchers because the poll watchers were locked out of the building. Or people that innocently came to vote on November 3rd, who were all excited about their vote. They were happy. They were proud to be citizens of the United States of America. And they went up and they said, I'd like to vote. And they were told that they can't vote. I'm sorry, they were told. I'm sorry.
No, they
You've
weren't.
already voted by mail-in ballot.
Well, yeah. Some people
Congratulations. We received a ballot, so you can no longer vote. They didn't know what to do. They had no one to complain to.
That's because you fucking told them to do it.
Election 61 days away. President Trump now threatening to restrict federal funds from Democratic-run cities like New York City, D.C.
There it is.
During his trip to North Carolina, the president encouraged his supporters to test the system, he says, for voting by mail in a way that could be illegal. Mail-in voting starts tomorrow in that state, making it the first in the nation to collect ballots for the November election. Ben Tracy reports on the president's new message.
I would go and follow it and go vote.
At an airport rally in North Carolina Wednesday, President Trump told his supporters that if they vote by mail, they should also then go vote in person.
And then if they tabulated very late, which they shouldn't be doing, they'll see you voted, and so it won't count. So send it in early and then go and vote. And if it's not tabulated, you vote, and the vote is going to count. You can't let them take your vote away.
In some states, you can ask for your mail-in ballot to be invalidated, but intentionally voting twice is fraud and affects.
You told him to do it, dumbass.
Most just left and said, that's strange. But many people complained and complained vehemently. And in a lot of cases, they filled out a provisional ballot, which was almost never used, but in virtually every case was a vote for Trump. In other words, they went in to vote and they were told that they voted. And they didn't vote. And they left and they felt horror. And they lost respect for our system. And this happened tens of thousands of times all over the country. That's how desperate the Democrats were. They would fill out ballots of people not even knowing if these people were going to show up. And when they did show up, they said, sorry, you've already voted.
No. Again, I showed the clip. I'm not bullshitting here. You told them to go and fucking vote in person after voting by mail. I'm sure a lot of these old people voted by mail and forgot.
And on top of everything else,
Stoners too.
we have a company that's very suspect. Its name is Dominion. With the turn of a dial or the change of a chip, you can press a button for Trump and the vote goes to Biden. What kind of a system is this?
That is false. Disproven multiple times, including by several audits of the system.
We have to go to paper. Maybe it takes longer, but the only secure system is paper.
The secure system is the one we use. Like, in theory, we have the machine, which tabulates things quickly for a count, and then we have a hand recount of it to match up with the fucking machine.
Not these systems that nobody understands, including, in many cases, the people that run them. Although, unfortunately, I think they understand them far too well. In one Michigan county...
You see that? Nobody understands them, including the people who run them, although I think they know them far too well. With a fucking flip on it, like, that heel turn. Holy shit. He's old, he probably broke his ankle though.
As an example, that used Dominion systems, they found that nearly 6,000 votes had been wrongly switched. In one Michigan county, as an example.
Michigan, 6,000 votes with Dominion. Oh. 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 Oh, you suck. deciding county after the death of the Dominion Ravens just dropped and including a touchdown. And while Antrim County discovered an incorrect tally that made it appear that Biden was winning, thereby 3,000 votes, it was the only county to experience such an incident. Also, the glitch had nothing to do with the technology, it was just a mistake made by the clerk. The day after the November 3rd election, while votes were still being counted, Antrim County appeared to have swung Joe Biden by about 3,000 votes. On November 5th, county officials changed that to show Trump winning by about 2,500 votes. Okay. Because the post did not update software, even though they tabulated kind of all about correctly, those accurate results are not combined properly when the code reported unofficial results. Boom. Done. For the rest. Yeah, sure. Mostly right. We do protest white supremacy and other far right causes. We could really try to fascism. When you're doing a fascism, yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah, right, sure. Fuck you guys. Not, not you. Fuck you guys. After everything. I think you really
That used Dominion systems. They found that nearly 6,000 votes had been wrongly switched from Trump to Biden. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is what we caught. How many didn't we catch? Are there hundreds of other examples throughout the country? Are there thousands? We just got lucky, and they called it a glitch. But we found numerous glitches that evening.
No,
96% of the company's political donations went to Democrats, not surprisingly. And frankly, when you look at who's running the company, who's in charge, who owns it, which we don't know, where the votes counted, which we think are counted in foreign countries, not in the United States, Dominion is a disaster. Election authorities in Texas have repeatedly blocked the deployment of Dominion systems due to concerns about security vulnerabilities and the potential for errors and outright fraud. Every district that uses Dominion systems must be carefully monitored and carefully investigated, but not only for the future. Right now, we're worried about the present and what went on with an election that we won without question. Under my lead, the Republicans won almost every state house in the United States, which they weren't expected to do.
I don't know about that. I'll check that. Private equity. Equity. Sure, let's check out some, what is this, global news or some shit. Global news, what is it? Is it 100%? Okay, so we're going to be on by that time. Yeah. All states for the split. Battleground of swing state, California, please. Okay. Oh. Founded in 1987. What? Oh, right. That's what I'm on. Carlisle Group. Private equity. Rubenstein. They're super mad about it. Super mad about it. They mad. I just don't like that. That's weird. There's a bad enough. We'll go back to this.
We won up to 16 seats in the House. The numbers are still being tabulated because there are 9 seats that nobody really knows. They don't know.
Oh, yeah. House races, one kid. election in House as well. Georgia is having a runoff for a special, a runoff for the Senate. Not that I want to. Oh shit. No election, no election, no election, no election. There we go. Okay. So we need to get the fuck color off then. Going off? Yes. Toss off. We need him in that. Who's taking? Who are you? What do you do? Republican Party, senior United States Senator, fuck you. You're old and you're probably dead. Also to win that race, and we need Warnock to win that race. It looks like he's doing fairly fucking handily. Depressing, 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 depressing. Especially fucking this one. Fuck Jeremy Allen. This one awful, but I mean, libertarian. Depressing. Still fight, still depressing. 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 Extra depressing. Fuck the old man. Mitch McConnell is a piece of shit. Ew, that's gross. Look at that fucking difference there. Oh, you got touch that. Fuck Tom Phillips. And what's here? Lindsey Graham. Oh yeah, pig shit. So, that's what we got going on here. Here we've got what's going on with these right now. Here we go. District 5. That's just public either way. What are you bitching about, Trump? What do you do from that one? Politics. Right. Who the fuck are you?
No, they're still, 2 weeks later, still under consideration because it's a mess. Republicans were supposed to lose many seats, and instead they won those seats in the House.
No.
And
no. They won some seats in the House, not the really important ones. They didn't take down the progressives. They're taking down the fucking neo-libs. Which, I mean, fascists taking down neo-libs is generally how that works, but also, you know, hopefully we can get enough comrades to just blow out the fascists.
A very important election that's coming up will determine whether or not we hold the Senate. David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler are two tremendous people. Unfortunately, in Georgia, they're using the same horrible Dominion system. And it's already been out that hundreds of thousands, think of it, hundreds of thousands of absentee ballots have been requested. You check it out, who's requesting those ballots. The difference is it's one state and we will have our eyes on it.
The difference is they catch voter fraud, as we already see right here. Okay, so he's just gonna say a bunch of dumb shit.
Cannot live with this kind of an election. We could say, let's investigations never stopped, so that they can try to get me there. It's this president from office. I never be the cleanest person in this country. Some people in this administration, but fortunately not all, have been beaten down and disparaged before the election, and they looked from outside in, but
yeah, that's about what I thought. Yeah.
But they had no way of even seeing because there were no windows, and the windows that were there were boarded up.
People with guns outside, not registered poll watchers. See, it's all just debunked bullshit. For fucking 40 minutes, and this premiered 2 hours ago. In this 2 hours ago! Oh my god! Oh my god. It's all debunked. It's all debunked. Literally all of this is debunked nonsense. Holy shit. Been debunked for like 2 weeks now. LOL, what the fuck. What up? Let's do something way more interesting. Let's look at this Nazi shit, guys. Let's make fun of that. What is he gonna do? Okay, so yeah, we'll do Carl. That's fine, whatever. Kenner nominated as ambassador to the EU by Barack Obama and was a member of Secretary of State John Kerry's Foreign Affairs Policy Board. Okay. He was a key force behind Obama's decision in February 2013 to launch negotiations with it on the ambitious transatlantic trade. PPP? Yeah, whatever the fuck. He was also chairman of the U.S. Federal Communications Commission. Okay, so the FCC. After being appointed by Clinton. Okay, so he has experience. He worked for the Carlyle Group. He has money. The Carlyle Group is huge. Sending up there and that. Okay, here we go. Okay, then we're going to go up to the Congress Services of 2009 to present. Harvard, shit like that. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think that matters much. That doesn't say anything, but oh, Q and R. I got that guy. There we go, one, we go. Oh my fucking god. Okay. Okay. Wow. It's crazy, yeah. Holy shit. Not inside. Let's figure it out. Around about often this is sketchy government emails, especially they went in 2008. I can't find quietly, okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. No. This is some wild shit. Okay. Okay. Sure. Oh my god. No. Okay. 50%, 50% of the Dominion voted in all of the Carlisle Group is an American international private equity alternative asset management financial services corporation with more than $200 billion in assets under management across 126 funds and 139 sponsors from businesses. CEO, co-CEO, CEO, Deutsche Bank Investments, which is markets. They're just reaching for anything. Anyone who gets a job that was working in the government or who has a Muslim-sounding last name is part of the conspiracy. Or a Jewish name, obviously. Because this is some Nazi shit. Trying to invite Spain in the USA, like, they call it CCP virus. Other languages that you can get it in, so you can put Nazi shit to other people. Oh, is this Bannon in this guy? Is that what this is? Affidavit, do not know. No, see, okay, so this guy's just a prepper. Since this guy is a trumper, this is all, this shit is going to be totally about it. Let's do it like that. I'm gonna get a video. Okay. I'm gonna get a video. People can say any crazy shit they want to believe. I could tell a fucking reporter. I could go right now, find a fucking reporter, and tell them some of the craziest shit you have ever seen, and they will probably record it. And the headline will be fantastical, so that right-wingers and shit will grab it and use it for shit, and other people will want to read it. But the content will be like, this guy lost his mind. I was just sent a link. Sorry, I got something in text that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. Totally derailed it. Oh yeah, and I was definitely late for anyone who caught my thing on Twitter about me going to training. So, there was a Twitter thing where a fucking Nazi got offended that I called him a Nazi, so he went around trying to make fake tweets and send them everywhere and block me so I couldn't respond to him. But, anyone who knows me knows that the things he was putting there are not things I would say. I can say some dumb things, I can say some weird things, I can say some things that some people might interpret as bad, but never really, not racial slurs or anything. Usually just stupid shit. We're done with this. I've already shown enough and disproven enough for people to know that this is complete and utter bullshit all the way through. Do you have anything else, Carla? Not now. Okay, fucking dumb. Ah. Actually, don't you dare. Get it on right. 5 months ago, we were doing a video. We did it. Let's hear it, everybody.
Let me get in because I'm going to put this on stream. That's what I want to make sure.
How's it going, everybody? America first! America first! America first!
Very well, Nazi. Very well, Nazi. Very well, Nazi.
America first! America first! America first!
Thank you so much.
America first! It's real! It looks like we finally have that big, beautiful red wave.
No, not really.
So great to see everybody out here. It's a beautiful sight. And I said this earlier. Some people say that America is an idea. Some say that America is about a governing document.
Fuck Charlie Kirk. Yeah, true. But also, y'all are Nazis, so fuck you.
Like the Constitution. And that's important, but America is the American people. We are America.
You are a portion of America. A very small portion. And a very Nazi portion, generally. Not every single person here is a Nazi, but Nick sure the fuck is. Also, he shit his pants in high school.
You cannot replace the American people. You cannot disenfranchise the American people. And they will not rule the American people.
Your party does that all the time. Disenfranchises, kills, it absolutely brutalizes people who vote Democrat. Because, you know, they murder black people. Brown people. You know, liberal, progressive, white dudes too. But not to the extent that they do any other demographic.
This election is about the American people rising up and taking control over our government and over our country once again. And if we don't stop this deal right now, we may never be able to do that ever again. And some say...
Good, you shouldn't have power. None of you. Not a single person here, not a single person who believes in your ideology should ever have the reins of power.
That we have to wait until 2022 or 2024. But if they could steal this election, if they could steal 7 swing states, there is no limit to what they can steal from us. That's why the fraud that has been going on for the past week, the fraud that has been going on for the past 4 years.
The quote-unquote fraud that never happened. The quote-unquote fraud... Well, okay, no, technically, there is fraud that happened. There's fraud that's happened this year, I believe I saw on that month that I saw on that document earlier. But not a statistical amount. There isn't really any. I mean, Bill Barr said it. So, this whole thing is dumb. Like, you got blown the fuck out. You're mad that swing states that could go either way, didn't go Republican this time, and most of them decided to say, fuck you, Trump, you're a shit. Trump is a terrible human. He does terrible things. He's bad. Very, very bad. It's been horrible. If I use his fucking level of rhetoric, idiots will understand what I say.
With the Russia hoax and the fake impeachment, and frankly the fraud that has been going on for 50 years must stop right here and right now.
Wait, did he say for 50 years?
The fraud that has been going on for 50 years.
The fraud that's been going on for 50 years. Let's see, 50 years ago was, what, the 70s? 2010, yeah. 1970, so after the 60s? Oh, okay. That's a dog whistle. That's segregation shit. That's repeal the Civil Rights Act.
Must stop right here and right
I don't know how many people there would have caught on to that, especially in the heat of the moment. You know, the fraud that's been going on. He's been talking about voter fraud, and then he said the fraud that's been going on for 50 years. And that's essentially, like, civil rights is what he's mentioning in that particular dog whistle. So, you know, I really wish somebody would be ballsy enough and tough enough to not die at the ass whooping they would get for doing it, but they would go just punch Nick in Minecraft, go punch Nicholas J. Fuentes in the face. I know the overwhelming dogpiling they would get afterwards in this crowd of Minecraft characters would be just almost insufferable, probably enough to kill a man in Minecraft. Jeez.
Only the beginning of the challenge that has been mounted by President Trump, not against the Democrats, not against the liberals, but against the global special interests that have taken over this country. That's right.
Global special interests that have taken over this country. Remember, Nick Fuentes is a Nazi. 100% Holocaust denier, everything. Won't call himself a Nazi, he calls himself an identitarian or some other third positionist or some other stupid shit. But he's obviously a Nazi, and by global whatever, he's talking about Jews, guys. He's talking about Jewish people. Global special interests.
And it cannot stop here. We have to storm every state capital until January 20th, 2021, when President Trump is inaugurated for 4 more years.
But he won't be inaugurated for 4 more years. He fucking lost, bitch. Try more. This is Coke.
8-foot Fuentes trending in the chat.
4 more years! 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 And I would be okay with 8 more years.
Of course you would, Fashy.
With 12 more years.
Trump won't make it 8 more years, much less 12 more years. The man's gonna, like, he'll die of a heart attack or something.
President Trump to rule for life.
Of course you do, because you're a fascist. But that confirms all of these motherfuckers are fascists. Or they just really think that that would trigger the lid super hardcore, but I don't think they realize the kind of horrible effects that would have to their lives as well. Because the sad thing is people who aren't Nick Fuentes, people who aren't advocating for these things, like, actively, but just listen to people like Nick Fuentes and hear him and just go along with it kind of idea, They don't know what they're getting into. They're just stupid. That's all it is. They're just fucking dumb. I've listened to a lot of them. Indirectly, directly, their brains don't work. I hate to say it. I know a few of them in my personal life, and I love them, but Jesus Christ. Listening to them speak about issues is almost heartbreaking. Because there's nothing there for them. They don't know. If it comes down to policy issues, any other kind of issues, we can bring them up, I can talk about them. They don't have information to support their claims. They have feelings about them. They have what they've heard previously, but they don't actually, like, look into them. They hear something. They read a Facebook post that's a meme or some other shit that's meant to convey information. They read a headline, and that's it. They don't read the article. And they share the headline. And it doesn't support what they say what they think it does. Because they don't know. They forgot how to research. Or they never learned. So to summarize that whole tangent, I feel sorry for these people. I feel bad for them. I want them taken care of. I want them educated. I want them to actually learn what's going on. I want this man, well, can't even call him a man. Can't even really call him a human. Nazis aren't people. That's the conclusion. Nazis aren't people. He is an advocate. He's trying to weasel it into people's brains. He's instilling the brain worms into other people. He gets to face me in Minecraft and I will guillotine him.
It's because of this. The Constitution did not protect us. That's right. And the GOP did not protect us. That's right. But President Trump, when he came down that escalator 5 years ago, he has been the only one who has protected us and our country and our heritage and our interests and the American.
Us, white people, which Mick isn't even fucking white according to regular Nazi standards, so he'd be gone. Neither is this guy right here. They would take one look at this guy, and they would go, out. If he got his way, if Nazis took over, this man, gone. Also gone. His last name is Fuentes. Like, he wouldn't be accepted. Nazis don't accept him. But only as a puppet. They will use him while he's useful, and then they will cast him aside when they get what they want. He would stay. He's white. Look at
that. People!
Oh yeah, and heritage and shit. All that other Nazi dog whistling. Just.
And so long as President Trump is the vanguard and the protector of our people and our historic nation, he will have my loyalty. Yeah!
But Trump is loyal to no one. Although that would probably, if he actually won, would get you a cabinet position. He will always have my loyalty. Oh, well, you're loyal. You fucking become my attorney general or some shit. Protect me.
My loyalty is not to Mitch McConnell. No! My loyalty is not to Fox News. No! My loyalty is to my president and my people, the American nation.
Disgusting. Your loyalty is to the American people bit. I kind of get. I love people in general. I don't give a fuck where you're from. I give a fuck what you value. Who are you? Do you hate women and believe that they should be stoned? No, not necessarily. We can work on that though. I love you. You deserve to be taken care of. I'm not gonna agree with you on those particular tenets. That was also a thing that's in the Christian Bible. Just before anyone jumps to any Muslim thing. It's a thing in the Christian Bible.
Must be America first!
America first! America first! America first! America first! America first! America first! America first! America first! America first! America first!
So it must not stop here. We must continue to turn out in this capital. We must continue to turn out in every state capital until the state legislature appoints their electors to send President Trump back for 4 more years. We will call on state legislators and we will demand that the GOP stand with our president, stand with the American people. And let me remind you that it is not about Republicans and Democrats. It is not about anything really political. When I see the people in the media, and I see what has happened with Jeffrey Epstein, and I see what happened with George Soros, and the Koch brothers, Jeff Bezos, and Big Tech, mainstream media, and I realize this is about the satanic globalist elite versus us. It is evil versus us, the people of Christ.
Christ is king! 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 Christ is king!
We are done being bullied by the media. We are done being bullied into drag queen story hours. We are done being bullied into foreign wars. Bullied into a country taken over by giant billionaires and corporations. We want Trump to leave this country because he represents us.
Well, you can take that thumb and stick it up your yeah. Somebody made that reference earlier. Was it yesterday? I don't remember. You have always done that. How dare you? That's the people that like it.
So my Nebraska bakeries have now entered phase 3 starting this.
You're working for.
Yeah. Alright, go and burn. What is your fucking picture of Ollie? That's your basket? Or is it on the house phone? I don't fucking know. Who is that? Oh, Endermax? Oh, where's Endermax? That was my boy. He's just out everywhere. Warren, Beto. Fucking everywhere. Fucking banana. It's true. Okay. Fuck you, Destiny. Anyway. Back to the Nazi.
We want Trump! 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 We want Trump!
If we are not successful in our endeavor to keep our president, it will be my mission to make sure that in 2022 and in 2024, we destroy the GOP that betrayed us this year.
Please do. Please destroy them with your fucking Nazi base going somewhere the fuck else. Go vote somewhere that isn't fucking Republican. Please. Literally just, I am actively asking you to do that. You should. Go ahead. Take your voter base, like the people that you can convince to do that, and go vote somewhere else. Go vote for the Libertarian Party. It probably won't help you. Fucking stop being cowards and make yourselves a Nazi party. Do it. See how much support you actually get when you are truthful about your beliefs. Let's see. Go ahead. We'll see who's actually more tough. Go ahead, do it. Tell you what, you guys make a Nazi party and you guys vote into a Nazi party for your Nazi candidates, and I'll hold off on wanting ranked choice voting. Deal? Is it a deal? You blocked me on Twitter, Nate, because, you know, I mentioned that you shit your pants. So.
Because we saw it. We know the fraud occurred. We saw the ballots at 4 a.m. in Milwaukee. 83% turnout in Milwaukee. Really?
Are you kidding? Come on.
And what did the 2024 hopefuls, the GOP's best and brightest, what did they have to say about that? What did Nikki Haley have to say about that? Marco Rubio and Mitch McConnell have to say about that?
Here's the deal. They are recognizing when they lost. McConnell won his seat. He doesn't need Trump anymore. He's not going to sit there and back somebody who lost and doesn't serve the agenda that he needs. He's going to drop him because the GOP is savage as fuck. The instant you are not useful to them anymore, and they have a chance to just leave, they're done. They're done with you. If they can't extract value from you, you're done. That's why they're such avid fucking capitalists.
Addison Cawthorn and Dan Crenshaw have to say about that?
Oh, and never let a Nazi say they're anti-capitalist, because they're fucking not.
They said absolutely nothing!
Traitors! Traitors! Traitors!
And I am sick and tired that every 4 years we go out for the Republican Party. They don't do anything for us. They have allowed this takeover by the left and by the media, and every single time we slavishly vote for them because they say, well, what is the alternative? Will you vote for the Democrats? If they can't protect President Trump, they are no better than the Democrats. So we are sending a message. We want to protect Trump, and if the Republican Party can't do it, then we are out of the Republican Party. Because it must be a two-way street. We vote, they do nothing, it has to stop now. I'm tired of being a sucker for the Republican Party. And we know this isn't the beginning. This was in 1992 when they put up Bush instead of Patrick Buchanan. And this happened during the Tea Party 10 years ago. And we've seen many times the grassroots, Christian, conservative, generational Americans that constitute the Republican Party have been screwed over. And we've been screwed over in favor of globalists, special interests, and the big donors, and all of the people that President Trump defeated 4 years ago. They are trying so hard to ride back and take back control and return to the status quo.
I mean, yeah, they were trying to return to the status quo. This is really boring argument. It's the same thing. He's just repeating himself over and over. There was fraud. There was fraud. It was stolen. We need to take back the country. There was fraud. We need to take back the country. This election was stolen. It was stolen. We need to protect our people. Yeah, he pretty much, like, he did a more subtle version, but he pretty much quoted the fucking 14 words in here. He's throwing out like 18 different dog whistles about Jewish people and black people. So, come on now. He's a fucking Nazi. Did anyone actually take him serious at this point? Well, apparently they fucking do. And that's terrifying. It's just down the list of Nazis. Absolutely disgusting. Bring down over oh look, there I am doing it up. Fucking video. Nobody fucking cares, Boston. Are you kidding? Yeah, dude went to fucking Cabo, okay? That's a bad example. Whatever. Okay. Okay. Oh, come on, man. You just hate leftists. You're fucking good. Yeah, this dude's got, this shit was covering. This guy? If you like anime, he's doing Naruto stuff. This guy is occasionally, but he does One Piece and Black Clover and all sorts of stuff. Check him out. Yeah, I'll give it a channel on there. He's okay. And especially for the same people. Hmm. Oh. Let's see. What are we gonna look at? Who? Who's the person that I can shit all over? Three weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 1 week ago, Thanksgiving address in Delaware. 17 minutes. Nah. We're gonna criticize this man. We're gonna criticize 4, 5. There's it. I'm going to take a very small boat. Okay. There we go. Use it. Purchase for the Actually, I need to let me open this back up and let me play some old fight. I guess, I don't know. Have to become the president. I like, yeah, we'll look at. No, none of these matter. Who can I shit on? Surely this guy got something new. I got a few minutes until my fucking shredded mini wheat cereal in my bowl here is a little bit softened up. Oh god, okay, I saw that the other day. Do you have anything from today? Nobody cares. Shut up. No, you didn't do anything today? Okay, you didn't do anything today. What's another big right-wing grifter? This guy. Ruben. Ah. Sure. We'll do this. I'll pause occasionally to interject some truth, depending on how fast he does his bullshit. But for the most part, I'm gonna try and stay muted so I can eat my cereal.
All right, what's going on, revolutionaries? Because that's what you are. If you're watching this freedom-loving show, you are now a revolutionary because it's getting stupider. I am here live in Los Angeles. I'm fairly certain I just broke the law. I took Clyde out for a walk. He had to poop, and I felt it would be best if we got him a little exercise. You know, these boxers, he's part boxer, part pit. A lot of energy. I didn't feel like letting him go in the yard. You know, that can be boring, just walking around the same grass all the time.
Okay, for one, I'm pretty sure when you have a mask on, it's not illegal to go outside.
So I took my dog for a walk. There were snipers. Garcetti's got snipers on the roofs of all the buildings, and we had to avoid the sniper fire. Clyde pooped. I went to get the poop. They were shooting down at the poop. I was able to grab the poop because that would be another infringement if you don't pick up the dog poop. So I was able to grab the poop. We made it back alive. We're okay, but I'm fairly certain I did break the law. We're going to talk about these idiotic, draconian, authoritarian, at this point, psychotic lockdowns that these people have no constitutional right to do. It's getting worse and worse and worse in LA. And that 75-degree weather, 75 to 82-degree weather that we have here every day, it's starting to not become as pleasant and starting to not become as good a reason to be here because this is absolutely ridiculous. I should tell you guys, though, that while I did, I think, break the law by walking my dog this morning, and again, I'll be judged in a court of law for that, I do have my producer, Michael, and my director, Connor, here in studio. And, you know, the other day I had them wave. Here, why don't we have you guys wave again? I don't want people to think we're just making this stuff up. Okay, so I've got other humans here. We're in a small room. Now, we're on complete lockdown. You're not allowed to have people in your house, blah, blah, blah. Now, this is my house. But, and we'll get to this in a little bit, there are some exemptions, and that includes podcasts. And now I understand that what I do here is probably the most important thing in the world, more important than people that are performing heart surgery or, you know.
See, he's trying to be funny, but it comes off really dry, and he's really dumb, and he's either been crying or smoking a lot of weed. I can't blame him for the second one. Can't really blame him for the first one. I'm not gonna make fun of him for it. But it's just not funny.
Cancer or the rest of it. But really think how silly it is that podcasting has been decided to be exempt. That's how like nonsensical these rules are. Like, but not just like political podcasting as if we have to exempt people that are getting you the news. Like you could be an unboxer or a video game podcaster and that's exempt too. But if you're an accountant who wants to go to the office, no, we're gonna haul you in. It's all just bananas. So all right, we're gonna obviously talk about the lockdown.
Okay, I know I just paused and everything. But podcasting is a job, and having people on your podcast as part of a job. No, you're supposed to do it on like Zoom and shit, but if that's not an option, then yeah, they're going to exempt your job. An accountant can do his job from home. It can be really hard to do podcasts with other people if they're not there. I assume. I don't know what I'm doing.
I have my glasses, so I have a special message for Mayor Eric Garcetti. I also have this. The Constitution, people. I've got a pocket Constitution. If you would have told me 5 years ago that progressive lefty Dave Rubin would be one of the guys walking around with the pocket Constitution, you know, there's always like this old Republican and they're at the Senate and he's like, and I've got my pocket Constitution and in this document. I'm now that guy. I'm that guy. I'm going to literally walk around with a pocket Constitution from now on so that if I'm ever accosted by one of these lunatics on the street, these Garcetti thugs, come and get me, guys. All right, so we're obviously going to talk a lot about lockdowns, and there are some good signs because although these lockdowns are annoying, there are some great signs. We're going to show you a couple of videos of people that are fighting back, and it's exciting, and it's awesome, and it's everything that America is really all about as opposed to what these people are doing, which is the most anti-American thing you could be doing. And then we're going to start today by talking about some of the voter fraud stuff because there's a lot happening and you're not seeing it on CNN. And again, this reality war that I'm always talking about, if stuff's happening, there are hearings happening in Pennsylvania and in Arizona and in Michigan. There are all these hearings happening. There are people who have signed affidavits saying that they have seen fraud, giving specific evidence. Trump's lawyers made some pretty extreme claims yesterday that were then submitted to the court. So we're going to show you some video on that. But if you don't hear about any of that, and then it starts going through the system, and then it's 2 weeks from now, and suddenly everyone's like, whoa, maybe something really did happen, well, then you're going to be set up to have a nervous breakdown. And I think half the country is heading in that direction, in case half the country's not having a nervous breakdown now. So that's what we're going to be covering today. I am ready to roll. Like, I'm ready for the revolution. I really am. Like, if this is what these motherfuckers are going to do, like, I'm here for it. Like, I am not going to be your bitch, Eric Garcetti. You have no right to lock me into my house, and I'm going to live my life as I see fit. But before we get to all that, let's talk about Glint Pay, guys. I've been telling you guys about Glint Pay, and if you don't know, the world is in a very precarious spot. One of the things that's lasted for a long time, that people have cared about for a long time, well, that's gold. And using your Glint Pay card, you can not only buy and sell gold, but you can use your card, which is also a MasterCard, to make purchases. You could buy a pocket Constitution with your Glint Pay to buy and sell. Just free to sign up, so go to a pocket. By the way, I think that's by design.
We're not listening to him chill on my channel. Any more cereal? I'm just gonna let him speak. I can debunk anything he says. Doesn't even matter. So, I'll be back.
Reasons that CNN and everybody else is going 24 hours a day on crazy corona stuff and making it seem like the world is ending tomorrow and the zombie apocalypse is here is because they need to cover something so that our eyes are not on some of the voter fraud stuff. So I'm going to show you a video. This is from yesterday. This is on Maria Bartiromo's show on Fox Business. And this is Trump lawyer Jesse Banal, and he's going to lay out some very specific things that they submitted to the courts yesterday. So again, as I have said from the beginning, it doesn't mean just because someone is saying it is true, but now he's saying they have evidence and it's been submitted to the courts. So we will find out, but I want to show you this so that in a week or so, once this has gotten through the courts, well, we'll find out if it's true or not, and you'll go, oh, I knew about it. So let's take a look.
We are going to present evidence of real voter fraud. Thousands and thousands of instances in voter fraud in Nevada alone by 5 o'clock today that will be submitted to the court. And we have instances, for instance, of 40,000 plus people who have voted twice in the election. That's real voter fraud. We have data showing that people who were on the record as having voted by mail didn't even receive ballots and say that they didn't vote. We have a lot of evidence that we are going to be presenting to the court showing that voters have been disenfranchised in Nevada because every single time there's a fraudulent vote cast, put into the system, it dilutes the votes of honest voters.
Okay, so there's a bunch of very specific stuff that, according to Trump's lawyer, they submitted to the courts yesterday. He is saying we are presenting to the court over 40,000 people who voted twice in the election.
Yeah, see, again, as I pointed out earlier, Trump encouraged people to vote by mail and in person to test the accuracy of mail-in voting. Many of these people probably filled out an absentee ballot a couple months ago and forgot. Not our fault. Sucks for you.
Now, we are about to find out if that is true. Now, if that is true, would that be voter fraud? Would that lead people to be disenfranchised from voting? Like, the answer seems to be yes. So if by me talking about what the lawyers are saying they're submitting to the courts and have the evidence of, if that makes me a conspiracy theorist or a deplorable or a general nutbag, well then here I am, people. I think it's worth talking about. We will now find out. And again, as I've said from beat one, the lawyers that are doing this stuff, they either have a sense of what they're doing and they know that they have some evidence, or they're self-immolating, right? They're just lighting themselves on fire and destroying their careers and their personal lives and everything else. Like, this stuff doesn't come with no cost. Like, forget the just destruction of your own career if you're an attorney that's either blatantly lying or making up evidence or making up things or the rest of it. Just think what you're doing to your life. Like, you know, we know about all the death threats these people get and, you know, the amount of, you know, people that would love to have them fired or canceled or everything else. So that's one interesting thing that happened yesterday that I'm guessing you probably didn't hear about. And then, let's take a look at this other video from yesterday. This is from the Michigan Senate. They're having a hearing on what happened, voting irregularities in Michigan. And this is a poll supervisor. Her name is, she's a poll challenger, sorry. This is a poll challenger by the name of Christina Caramaro. And she's testifying here that a poll supervisor illegally gave contested votes to Democratic candidates. Listen to what she says. She's under oath as she is doing this. And it doesn't mean that what she's saying is true, but you just use your own mind to say, does it sound like what this woman is saying is true or not? And then if what she's saying is true, if they have evidence of it, would that change your feelings about what happened in Michigan? Let's take a look.
So I was a poll challenger at the TCF Center on Monday, November 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. On November 4th, early in the morning, I was standing at the adjudication table, and a ballot came across the screen. The ballot had a straight party ticket vote for both the Democrat and the Republican. It was a filled-in circle, which is an intentional mark. It's not a dash, it's not a dot. When the ballot came across the screen, there was no other marks. None of the judges and none of the other ballot proposals had been voted on. The poll worker then said, I think I'm going to give it to the Democrats. That's absolutely absurd. That is illegal. The vote should have been tossed out. At that moment, I said, absolutely not. I'm going to challenge this. So I go get her supervisor. And then her supervisor defers to her and says, well, what do you think? And I'm like, well, what do you think? It doesn't matter what you think. It's the law. Our feelings, our emotions, our thoughts are totally irrelevant. You follow the law. And that ballot is to be tossed out. But she wanted to give it to the Democrats. So then I go get the gentleman who was overseeing the entire absentee ballot counting process while Daniel Baxter was gone. So this gentleman's name I do not know. I go get him. He's overseeing the entire process while Daniel Baxter is gone. I ask him. He says to the girl, what do you think? It was disgusting. I was enraged. And I simply asked a question. I said, well, why not give it to the Republicans instead of the Democrats? The gentleman began screaming at me, began yelling at me, began telling me that I had no right to talk to her, and he told her to push the ballot through. And prior to that, that same poll worker, a ballot came across the adjudication screen where this voter had voted for Joe Biden and the Green Party presidential candidate, and she gave the vote to Joe Biden. I also saw the ballots show up in the middle of the night. Also, I inquired about the tabulation numbers from the tabulation machine between shift changes.
100% going to claim 900 million levels of bullshit on all of this. Otherwise, people would already be arrested.
I was denied that information. We saw a lot of irregular things. This is not an anomaly. Just because all of us have different accounts of what we saw, that doesn't make them invalid. And to expect Secretary Benson to actually do something about it is foolhardy. To accept Dan and Essel to do anything about it would be foolhardy. So we're appealing to you guys to do something about it. Because if our elections aren't fair, then we have no republic left. It's a banana republic. We have nothing. And we don't trust the election process. Why do you think a lot of people don't vote? Because they feel it's the big fraud.
I want to go on the record here, under oath, that I love this woman, Christina Camaro. Does that woman strike you as someone that's lying? Does that woman strike you as someone that is not aware of what she's talking about or is making stuff up? I mean, that is some specific stuff there. You know how during these lockdowns we don't get any specific information from our government officials? You know how they just tell us what we're supposed to believe and then we all believe it for some reason? Oh, 50% of the zoos must close down. We're slaughtering the penguins. It's a good idea. It'll save us. Well, that woman gave you some seriously specific stuff as to what the supervisors were doing on some of these contested ballots. They were just giving it to the Democrats. Now, her saying it in and of itself does not make it true. But when they give sworn testimony, then that must be taken seriously. As one of the other women pointed out, I think in an Arizona hearing yesterday, you know, they sign these documents that say if they're lying, that they could be taken to jail, that they could actually be jailed. So these are decent American citizens who are putting their butts on the line, who are being treated, of course, either outright ignored by the media or being, you know, treated like trash. You decide. But the simple fact is that if we're just going to ignore all of these people, like why should we ignore that woman, okay, who's doing a civic duty that she doesn't have to do, right? She's doing this because she wants to believe in the integrity of the elections that I think we would all want to believe in. Why should we not believe her, dismiss the citizens while we listen to these wannabe kings like Garcetti and Newsom and de Blasio and Cuomo? I mean, we just shouldn't. So anyway, the point is there's still some things moving along. And if you are one of the people who's just avoiding talking about it or pretending that everyone who talks about it is a liar or a nutbag, I think you got another thing coming. And that doesn't mean that this is going to end with everything being overturned. But this idea that we should be afraid to talk about certain things is deeply dangerous.
A little pivot there, so that he could try and justify talking about anything. You shouldn't be afraid of talking about some things. Correct, there are some things you shouldn't be afraid to talk about. There are some things that, if you're a quarter of a decent person, you don't talk about. Even small things, slight things. Like, don't bring up somebody farting in public. Fuck it, people fart. And also, don't start talking about black people in negative light. Those are things that you don't discuss. It's just not good. Racism's bad. Not being a dick, good.
Before we get to the next story, the lockdown story, which is going to probably have me exploding out of my chair, I want to talk to you guys about Top Resume. You know, with today's high unemployment rates and uncertain future, we realize confidential resumes. Hey, Doc, resume is off resume. This is a pocket constituted be a people who rule ourselves, and then we laid out in this. I mean, it's tiny, and everyone should read it. Everyone should read it. In this tiny little document that is more brilliant and has brought more freedom to more people than any other man-made document probably in the history of the world. We now find ourselves in 2020 in a time when Democratic mayors, and it happens to be pretty much only Democratic mayors and governors, have decided that they are allowed to ignore this thing, that they are allowed to tell you that you can't go to work, that they are allowed to tell you that your mom can't come over for lunch.
Yeah, they actually do have that kind of power. See, here's the thing. Concern of the government for the health, peace, morality, and safety of its citizens. Health? It's a global pandemic. Guess what, buddy? That falls into the purview of health. Oh, what? Are you telling me that a pandemic falls under the government's purview of providing for the health of citizens? What? Also part of the safety bit, you know? Because it's not safe to go wandering around with a whole bunch of people that you don't fucking live with. Oh, right.
Allowed to tell you you can't take your kids to the movie. They feel that they have now decided they have the power.
Oh, and then there's also, I'm sorry, Congress regulate, to regulate commerce with foreign nations and among the several states and with Indian tribes. Congress has the power too. So, yeah, they can tell you not to go to work.
They have the power to control every bit of your life. And
technically, yes.
Guess what? I'm not going to stand for it.
At least in some ways. I don't stand this. It's pretty authoritarian in some regards. But it's what we got. And it does enshrine certain freedoms. But also it gives the government ways to override certain portions of certain freedoms to preserve the overall freedom itself.
And I don't think most people are going to stand for it. So let's take a look at video from yesterday. This is Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti, a horrible human being, demanding that Los Angelinos cancel everything.
My message couldn't be simpler. It's time to hunker down. It's time to cancel everything. And if it isn't essential, don't do it. Don't meet up with others outside your household. Don't host a gathering. Don't attend a gathering. And following our targeted safer at home order, if you're able to stay home, stay home. Just be smart and stay apart. That's our message tonight.
Yeah. Don't go out if you don't have to. Stay away from other people. That's... oh my god.
And this is how we'll keep ourselves safe. This is how we will protect our workers, our healthcare heroes, who I want to thank, who are on shift after shift after shift, with little light at the end of the tunnel.
Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti, go fuck yourself.
Oh, you're so fucking pleased with yourself, Dave. Dude. He's literally being like, hey, be safe. Try not to fucking infect other people with your disgusting ass disease. You know, people have coronavirus wandering around. I bet you have coronavirus. All of you are gonna fucking come down with it.
These are not good people. These are not good people.
Oh boy. Hey everyone, try and be thoughtful and stay away from other people and stay safe and try and make sure that you don't infect other people because there's a deadly pandemic. These are not good people. The people that are saying this, these are not good people. They're telling you to protect other people.
What was the line there? What was the line? His little rhyme? Just be smart and stay apart. They think we're children. They think that we are hamsters who
Part of the marketing for children involved as well.
Can live in a small cage, in a habit trail, where occasionally we can run from tube to tube and pack a bunch of food in our cheeks and then feed our families. This is no way to live, and you don't have to listen to these people, okay? This is not constitutional. It is not constitutional. By the way, I want to pull up a picture.
So I just showed 2 ways in which it is. And, what is the penalty for ignoring state order? Yeah, you do have to listen to these people. What do you know?
This man is telling you that you should stay home, You should wear masks. You should watch your life fall apart. You should be depressed. You shouldn't be around people you love. We should ruin Thanksgiving and we'll ruin Christmas soon enough. Let's not forget that this douchebag, and I'm trying to bring the word douchebag back. These people are douchebags. I'm not even totally sure what a douchebag is, but whatever a douchebag is, that's what...
Not even entirely sure what a douchebag is. Dave, you know, as a gay man, you should probably also know about anal douche. Like, it's actually a good thing in general for like cleaning you out when you need it. I'm pretty sure they use it on some people before colonoscopy. So, you know, it's just a thing. It cleans. But you should probably like not admit openly that you're trying to bring back a word that you don't know what it is.
This is Eric Garcetti in June. Let's take a look. Ah, yes, there's Eric Garcetti without a mask, standing next to a woman without a mask, and they're at a protest. And somehow that protest was not called a super spreader event by CNN or the New York Times.
Oh, it's not called a super spreader event because mask and mask and mask and mask and mask and mask. Mask, even though it's not entirely worn properly. Mask, 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 mask.
As a matter of fact, they were promoting it and telling people this was their civic duty. Then, of course, when Donald Trump had events, these were super spreaders and he's killing you and everyone you know.
Oh, but what is Trump rally? Not news, not videos, images. Look at these cars, no mask. Look at these. I couldn't get away with it because I had a mask with me. I couldn't get away with it. I don't see mask straps. I wonder why. They called Trump super spreader events.
Are ridiculous people. We did the big video yesterday, the long Twitter thread about the hypocrisy of these people. I have no doubt that Eric Garcetti is breaking his very rules at the moment. They don't want you riding bikes. They literally don't want you taking walks. I mean, he's basically saying, don't take a walk. This is absolutely insane. So let's dive in actually into a little more of this emergency public order by these clown people. This is from KTLA. All residents within the city of Los Angeles were ordered to remain in their homes effective immediately, according to an emergency order issued Wednesday evening. I guess aliens are invading. We got to stay home. The previous safer at home order was withdrawn and superseded, by the new one published Wednesday, which is, quote, necessary for the protection of life and property in the city of Los Angeles, the order states. It largely mirrors the existing LA County protocols that went into effect Monday. Non-exempt businesses in the city were ordered to cease operations that require in-person attendance of staff. However, there is a broad list of exceptions for various businesses and workers deemed essential or exempt. People may lawfully leave their residences only to engage in defined essential activities. All travel, including on foot, bicycle, scooter, motorcycle, automobile, or public transit is prohibited.
Yep. Yeah, they're trying to get rid of a fucking pandemic. This is what the scientists suggest.
They are literally telling you you cannot take a walk, travel on foot. I was out there with Clyde. We walked. He sniffed. He peed. Lord, give me the strength. This is absolute insanity. And people are rising up. I'm going to show you a couple videos in just a second about people rising up all over the country. And guys, watch V for Vendetta tonight. You know what? Maybe we'll do a RubinReport.com movie night. We've done a couple of these. If you join us at RubinReport.com, we all watch a movie together, and then we do a big live chat. And maybe we'll do a huge video chat as well. Maybe we'll just get a couple hundred people or something in on a big Zoom chat. Because you need to watch V for Vendetta, and it's an incredible movie. And I think we're getting to the point where we're going to have to start doing some crazy shit because these people are horrible and they want us locked in our houses forever. And the reason I mentioned V for Vendetta, it's very much about this sort of overreaching government thing. But one of
V for Vendetta is about fascists.
the things that V says is that people should not fear their government. Government should fear their people. And we're just about there, guys. We're just about there.
Yeah, see, I don't think you are. Republicans sure as fuck aren't, because they cower to the fucking police and shit. They kowtow all the time. It's pretty sad. Good, my mic is gone.
And if you happen to live in a freer state, God bless you, and you're smarter than I am, and maybe I'm on my way. Florida, how you doing? But you should care about this too if we are to remain the United States of America. But okay, so Garcetti's telling us all of this, and notice in all of this, he doesn't really show us any numbers. There's no specific things. He doesn't explain why 50% at zoos and the rest of the nonsense. So what do I have to do? Well, again, I'm not a journalist, but I thought you guys might appreciate some numbers, some actual numbers that might explain a little bit of what's going on in the world to you. So here's the LA hospital capacity chart, and this is actually rather amazing. So what you're seeing here, okay, so you have two graphs there. So on the top graph is the non-ICU bed situation. So in essence, what you're seeing, if you start at 5/31, so we'll start at the end of May, about 10% in non-ICU, so non-emergency beds were taken, okay, 10%. And then you can follow the dates along. At one point, we got up to 15, then we went down again. We got it all the way down to about 6% in October. And now right now, as of, what is this? As of basically last week, we're at 12%, okay? 12% of non-ICU beds. But they're telling us this is the crisis of all crises and hospitals are gonna be overrun. I live near two hospitals.
Yes, because, oh my god, bro, holy fuck. Yes, because when a large portion, when more than 4 or 5% of a hospital, of hospital beds in a certain ward type of thing, you know, non-ICU, are strictly for one type of illness, that's a fucking problem, my guy. Oh, and what's this one? Average daily non-ICU, okay, average not, so licensed non-ICU, licensed ICU beds, 2,500. 24% of which are for fucking COVID. Up, it was almost 40%. This is insanity. This isn't good. He gives you these little numbers and goes, only 12%. Yeah, in context, think of how many people have to go to a fucking non-ICU thing. In an emergency, in a hospital. How many people is that? Intensive care is a pretty small thing. It's for like horrific car wrecks and shit like that. Everything else in a hospital is non-ICU. 17,000 beds. 12%. That's, oh, come on, phone. 17,000 times 0.17 is, 2,890? 2,890. COVID utilization beds. It's not good. One second. Okay. All right.
That we drove by in the last couple days.
All right.
The hospital that's right by my house is basically completely empty. It looks like a ghost town. Okay, because people aren't even going for other procedures right now because they're so afraid. And then I went to a hospital that I drove by a hospital on the way to Home Depot. That's about maybe 10 miles away. This is
Very low usage. Very low. Right? Yeah. 4.5 to 4.11. Pretty low. Pretty low. Pretty low. Spike. Currently available staff beds is this top blue portion. Non-COVID-19. For other people having to go in. Health Services of Los Angeles County. Yeah. I'm going to call bullshit on your little narrative over here.
basically nobody in the parking lot or anything else.
Yeah, I doubt that. Well, they can't be in the parking lot. They fucking drop people off and you have to leave, you stupid fuck.
There's also a makeshift coronavirus testing facility, an outdoor testing facility. It was completely empty. 0 people there. 0 people there. This is just a couple days ago. The chart on the bottom, if we could throw that up again. The chart on the bottom is, wait, which one's non-ICU? Michael, help me out here for just a sec. I'm looking at 2 things here. Okay, the chart on the bottom is the ICU beds. So ICU beds, if you look at that, in April, at 40% of beds in ICUs, right, they were taken by COVID patients. Well, then we did a nice job, and you can see this basically going down, and now we're at 24% as of a week ago. 24%. I welcome you to look at this chart yourself. Blow.
Yep. And I will blow that away again with the how many other things people go into hospitals for. If a quarter of your ICU beds is taken up for COVID, that's 24% of your beds that can't be used for other emergency services because COVID is a lasting thing. You're there for more than a day or 2. You're there for weeks.
Blow it up, pause it, take a look. You can see we have more beds than we need. That isn't to say that spikes can't happen. That isn't to say that people can't get sick. That isn't to say that a hospital couldn't be overrun. Have we had any hospitals overrun in the United States? Why haven't we seen massive outbreaks in all these homeless encampments? You know, here in the United States, here in Los Angeles, the People's Republic of Los Angeles, we have homeless encampments all over the place.
Yeah, and they're probably infested with fucking COVID. People are probably dying. But people don't pay attention to them because they're homeless people. And fuckbags like you only point them out to laugh at them. The occasional hand them $1 on camera so you can show that you're helping the homeless or some shit.
Build these tents, these makeshift cities. Sometimes, you know, I'll go under a bridge on a Saturday and I'll be like, oh, look, there's a new mini house under the bridge. And the next day they put in a whole extension and they have a whole new house there. And it's very impressive that they can build them that quickly. Well, how come those people, who, by the way, in this idiotic order by Garcetti, he says something like, people who are currently experiencing homelessness are exempt from these orders.
Yeah. People who are currently experiencing homelessness, as in people who have been recently kicked out, people who don't have a home to begin with. Like, homelessness is not a state of being; it is it's an experience in a state of being. You are homeless. You can experience homelessness. You can get out of being homeless. It's not a permanent thing. Like, it's not.
If you're currently experiencing homelessness, you're exempt, okay? You realize how bananas these statements are? So, but why is it that with all these homeless encampments that we have in Los Angeles, run by a progressive, and in San Francisco, run by a progressive, why is it that we haven't seen massive breakouts there? Why is it that we haven't seen, where are 5 hospitals that have been overrun in the United States? Is this odd? Does anyone think this is odd? I think it's a little odd. I'm starting to think it's a little odd. You see what I'm saying there? But again, don't take my word for any of this. You know, we're going to put the link. Let's put the link to this image in the description so that people can actually take a look. But you will see we have way more beds here in LA in ICU and in non-ICU than we need at the moment. And yet they are telling us, don't leave your house, don't walk your dog. Fuck you, fuck you. Okay, let's move on to segment 3 because people are fighting back. So now we can get to some of the good stuff. Homelessness, you're exempt, okay? You realize how bananas these statements are? So, but why is it that with all these homeless ICU than we need at the moment, and yet they are telling us, don't leave your house, don't walk your dog? Fuck you, fuck you. Okay, let's move on to segment 3 because people are fighting back. So now we can get to some of the good stuff. Segment 3 over here. It's time to defy these lockdown orders, guys. It really is time to you know, I'm sorry. I cannot believe that this is the position that you people have put me in, and I would say any sort of decent, centrist, freedom-loving American, which, by the way, I think is most of us. People have just absolutely had it. So this first video that I want to show you comes out of Michigan, and this is a restaurant owner who goes off on to a local reporter on what's going on with the lockdowns. Let's take a look.
The details on why the judge said no.
Here on this cafe.
Tavarius, is everything okay?
Okay. Our government leaders have abandoned me.
Are you the owner?
$4 trillion of stimulus money. They gave it to who? Special interest groups and campaign donors. I'm Dave Morse. I own the place.
So what's going on?
What's going on? You know what's going on.
Tell me. You tell me.
Hey, we got a government that has taken the stimulus money. They gave it to special campaign donors. They gave it to special interests. They abandoned me. And
I mean, that's technically true. But yeah, you're not allowed to have that kind of thing open. You can't, just because they didn't give you the money that you definitely do need. I feel for you on that. Doesn't mean you can fucking break the law and get people more COVID.
I'm in a position where I have to fight back. Okay?
So do you feel that this is the right thing to do?
Absolutely. I feel everybody needs to stand up. Hey, listen, there was enough money to give every family in this country $20,000 to go home for 2 months. They chose to give it to special interests. And
yeah. You're right there, buddy. Where you're wrong is what you're doing to fight back against it.
And campaign donors, the Kennedy Space Center, and they abandoned us. So you could have given me money. I'd gladly walk away for 60 days and let this virus settle down. I'm not.
And see, this is where our politicians have fucking failed. Literally, this guy says it. If you'd have given me $20,000 fucking dollars, I'd have settled down for the entire time that we needed for this pandemic. Fuck, it's $20,000.
I'm gonna do it alone. Okay?
Are you going to continue to violate the state's orders and stay open?
This is a state order. This isn't an order. This is a conspiracy. This is a tyranny.
What do you want to tell other restaurant owners who...
Wake up. Stand up. This is America. Be free. I got patriots coming out.
Okay, so he goes off the deep end there, but he is right about the fucking $20,000 per family fucking thing. We'd be done with this at this point.
I'd vote for that guy too. We got the girl from earlier. I'd vote for her. Vote for this guy instead of these clowns that we've got. There's a couple incredible quotes there. Now I'm not confirming that everything he said is absolutely true, obviously, but the point is that this man who is just a decent, hard-working American, a guy who decided to own a restaurant, which is one of the hardest businesses. Something like 90% of restaurants in good times fail in their first year. It's one of the most difficult businesses that you can possibly be in. The blood, sweat, and tears that you have to do that. I have friends that own restaurants, and I have friends that tried to own restaurants and failed. This is not easy work. Every moment of your life goes into that. And the government just locks you down, shuts you out, says you can't do anything, moves the goalposts so that you can...
They did small business loans and stuff, so restaurants and people like that have small businesses could actually pay their employees and also the upkeep and shit that they needed on the restaurant. So there's no excuse on that one. Fuck you, Dave. That's not an excuse. Do something relevant, you little bitch.
You know, we've had a bunch of this in LA where just over the last couple of weeks, people started building outdoor and rooftop table areas. And then what happens? Well, then they say you're not even allowed to use that. So you spend money you don't even have to go along with these orders that make no sense, and then they still shut you down. But a couple quotes there. He said, "My government leaders have abandoned me." He's in Michigan, which is Gretchen Whitmer, which she's getting her Botox. There's no doubt about that during all of this. And she's telling people they can't garden.
No, Gretchen Whitmer is not. She's doing her fucking job. And the government leaders are the people who actually hold the levers of power. The Democrats in the House have actually voted for fucking stimulus and shit. The Republicans are the ones who sidelined it and pushed it and changed it and morphed it into what it is. Now, Democrats themselves, yeah, they agreed to some shitty shit. They didn't give money to the people the way they should have. But the original bills pushed for it. The Republicans are the ones who always water it down. And it's a Republican Senate and a Republican president.
So he's talking about her. "They have put me in a position that I have to fight back. All this guy wants to do is live. All he wants to do is put food on his family's table. That's it. He's not asking for anything else." And I thought the last one there, "This isn't an order, this is tyranny." Stand up, people. They only have power if we let them have.
Well, they have power because they control the levers of power. We gave them the power. They ostensibly should be listening to us, but money makes the world go round. So that's a thing. You're dumb, Dave. 5 more minutes of this? No. Fuck you, Dave. You don't deserve it. Anyway. Yeah. They don't tell me. Here, I guess. I still can't get my. But it still just doesn't want to give me. Yeah, I've debunked a bunch of this shit. Like, how long has it been? 3 hours and 20 minutes? Holy crap. Okay. That was longer than I thought. Okay. Sure. Well, when something else actually relevant happens, of course then we'll be doing that. But until then, I'm gonna get on and play some video games. I hope you guys enjoy what I do here. If you do, like, comment, subscribe. And if not, well, I mean, fine, whatever. That's your problem. Oh yeah, the Joe thing. Joe thing. Beat COVID. Read through this before. Fairly decent. Jobs and work and stuff. Needs work. We'll cover this next time. Later, guys.